Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. Ready your rig, reload your plasma cutter, watch the shadows, watch those vents, beware the markers, because this is Dead Space. The Dead Space trilogy are some of the greatest video games ever made ever. Period. The first Dead Space is a masterpiece, a classic. Dead Space 2 is an incredibly memorable video game, a phenomenal work of art. And Dead Space 3 is a great game. The Dead Space trilogy as a whole is a masterwork of video gaming. And one of the very few trilogies I got to witness as a gamer. I experienced the trailers, the build-up, the reviews. This was a trilogy I was truly and still am very invested in. There's a reason the Dead Space video games have become instant classics. They have become must-play games within gaming as a whole. The Dead Space games just get so much right. But in my personal opinion, what I think Dead Space gets right the most is the balancing act. The balance between horror and action. The Dead Space games, Dead Space 2, and Dead Space 3, are survival horror action games. Now, a lot of video games, especially horror games, mostly AAA horror games, try to find a balance between horror, to bring on the scares that people are anticipating, and throwing some action in there to engage the player and keep their interest. And so many games just fail. They fail at the balancing act of balancing horror and action, and just turn into action games with a few horror elements, such as the Resident Evil games, The Evil Within, Alone in the Dark, Alan Wake, Condemned Criminal Origins, even the Silent Hill games. The original pioneers of survival horror eventually devolved into watered-down action games. But Dead Space found that perfect balance between horror and action. In Dead Space, you are constantly on edge. In Dead Space, you are constantly put in intense situations. In Dead Space, you are constantly thrown disturbing, horrific visual imagery. In Dead Space, you are genuinely scared, yet at the same time, you're having fun. As intense, as horrific, as scary as your experiences in Dead Space are, they're still fun. You're still having fun playing the game. And you also have those badass moments in action games where you're like, oh yeah, that was badass, woohoo! While at the same time you're going, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Usually those two things don't go together. They don't mix, but Dead Space does it. Let's of course talk about the most important and interesting aspect, or half I should say, of Dead Space, the horror. How does Dead Space get horror right? Well, first off, there's the atmosphere, the environment. The first Dead Space takes place on the Ishimura, a giant spaceship, a planet cracker ship, that is slowly falling apart due to, well, the obvious necromorph infestation. The Ishimura is packed with detail, and packed with disturbing sights to see. As you venture through the many different levels, the many different sections of the ship, you get a sense, you get a feeling of how this ship once operated, how it once worked, where people used to work, go about their day-to-day life and job. And you see how the necromorphs are slowly transforming this place into a horror house, as the ship slowly comes apart from negligence and decay. Dead Space 2 takes place on the Sprawl, a giant space station city orbiting around Saturn's moon of Titan. And the Sprawl is a place filled with character and culture. While the Ishimura gave you the feel of an industrial workplace, the Sprawl gives you a feeling of a living, breathing city full of culture and capitalism. And you get to see that city turn into hell itself for the chaos and destruction the necromorph infestation causes. And then in Dead Space 3, we explore the icy cold surface of Tau Volantis, a snow planet. And you get to see so many aspects of this planet. From the snowy mountains to its deep caves and catacombs, to the abandoned and almost ancient military settlements. These locations that you visit in the Dead Space trilogy are packed to the brim with detail, with magnificent lighting. Oh, the lighting in the Dead Space games are fan-freaking-tastic. Just perfect. The lighting in this game is perfect. The game is dark where it needs to be, and bright where it needs to be. I cannot praise the lighting in this game. The lighting in this game is phenomenal. It adds so much to the atmosphere. And the different locations that you journey throughout the Dead Space trilogy, they stick with you. You remember them. You remember the tight and claustrophobic hallways of the Ishimura, the medical bay, engineering, hydroponics, the crew deck. The crew deck. Then we have Dead Space 2 and the Titan Station, the Sprawl. Just like the first Dead Space, it is an experience. It is a location you will not forget. The atmosphere is all-consuming, just so memorable, especially with the pacing at which you move through this environment. Where in the first Dead Space there was a bit of backtracking to give you a feel for the Ishimura, to make you part of the ship, memorize the ship, make you feel like you're part of this location, that you're in it. With the Titan Station, the Sprawl, you're constantly seeing new parts of this city. You're constantly moving through it and seeing all the new locations you can see in it. And it gives you a sense of scale, that this place was huge and there were so many people here doing so many different things, living life here. I mean, who can forget the Titan Memorial Medical Center, the Titan Station Church of Unitology, Titan Heights, and of course, Titan Elementary School. Oh God. And then we move along to Dead Space 3, and what I really like about Dead Space 3, when it comes to atmosphere and locations, is that the first few hours of the game are basically fan service to Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2. The very first chapter of Dead Space has you try to escape from a sprawl-like city, something similar to Titan Station. And the next few chapters afterwards have you explore desecrated old spaceships, just like the first Dead Space. And then finally, for the rest of the game, you make your way to Tau Volantis, the snow planet. The surface of this world just gives you the feeling of cold. Just looking at it, the visuals makes you feel cold. And the harshness, the world just looks harsh. And the abandoned military settlements, just classic Dead Space. Dark, dense, claustrophobic hallways. Everything a shambles and covered in blood. The locations of the Dead Space games are just so masterfully crafted, so packed with detail, and have such excellent lighting. The visuals of the locations themselves fill you with dread, fill you with intrigue. They immerse you in the world, in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is just so good. It grabs you. The atmosphere just grabs you and pulls you in. The design of everything constantly keeps you uneasy. Just the locations themselves keep you uneasy because of what happened in them. You can imagine the chaos. You can imagine the necromorphs running amok, attacking people. You can see where conflicts arose and how people slowly went mad from all the madness. The atmosphere, the environment itself tells a story. And that is just so engrossing. And atmosphere and environment are just so important when it comes to horror, and Dead Space nails it. And then we have your adversaries, the enemies you come up against. Because the actual antagonists, the actual icons of horror, the stuff that is causing the horror, is just as important as the environment this is all taking place in. And the necromorphs, they have become infamous, the necromorphs. They have become infamous for how much of a terrifying and gruesome threat that they are. What makes the necromorphs so frightening is that you know these things once were people. They once resembled people. They were once living. But they've been mangled and mutated into something that once resembled a human but now looks like something out of your most dark and twisted nightmares. Honestly, the necromorphs best represent what makes the Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing so terrifying. You see this alien organism transform what was once human or even animal, something that was recognizable and definable, just transform your everyday creatures and people and twist and turn them into something that's just so unnatural looking. You know, on a side note, on a personal note, one of the reasons I fell in love with the Dead Space games to begin with is because of how much they reminded me of John Carpenter's The Thing. And now I love Dead Space more than I love John Carpenter's The Thing. Just a little side note. So yeah, when it comes to the horror aspect of Dead Space gets it just so right with its atmosphere, locations, and its enemies. On the action side of things, how Dead Space gets action right is through its destructive, awesome sci-fi weaponry and its excellent, just excellent set-piece moments. The weapons of Dead Space are so cool looking, they're destructive. They have elements of customizability, especially in Dead Space 3 with weapon crafting. They have awesome, just awe-inspiring effects on your enemies, tearing them apart with Dead Space's excellent gore and dismemberment system. I mean, come on guys, who doesn't love the plasma cutter, the pulse rifle, the Ripper, the flamethrower, the line gun? All just they've become classic weapons. They're so effective, so fun to use. Now you'd think at first, well, these weapons are so awesome and so destructive, they must take away from the horror aspect. Admittedly, a tiny bit at lower difficulties. But on higher difficulties, where ammo is sparing and every shot counts, since getting ammo and health kits become a rarity on higher difficulties, then the intensity goes through the freaking roof when you have to make every shot count. And then there's the set pieces. Oh yes, the set pieces of Dead Space. Whether it be first, second, or the third game, the Dead Space games are filled with these set pieces that are they're the perfect balance. They're action-packed and exciting, a visual treat, but are intense enough, so nail-bitingly close-called, and so horrifically dangerous that it doesn't take away from the horror elements. If anything, it adds to them and gives you the feeling of, oh man, that was so close, I can't believe I survived that. But that was awesome, let's not do it again. And that, my friends, is how Dead Space just finds that perfect balance between horror and action. It just finds the right amount of everything. Everything just scales out with one another. The action never outshines the horror, and the horror doesn't overwhelm or make the action non-existent. It finds a balance that I find no other video game has yet to match with Dead Space. The perfect balance between action and horror. Dead Space does it right. This has been the Gamertron. This has been the Gamertron Show. Let me know if you liked the video by hitting that like button. If you agree with anything I said in this video, if you love Dead Space, please hit that like button. Hitting the like button helps me, helps you, helps everybody involved with the video. If you hit that like button, please leave a comment. What do you think of Dead Space? What do you think of my opinion on Dead Space? Please leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I love getting comments. I don't get nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. And finally, if you're new to the channel and just stumbled across this video, I hope you guys are interested in subscribing to the Gamertron Show, because I'm a guy who loves video games, and I love talking about video games, and if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. Anyways, this has been the Gamertron, this has been the Gamertron Show, and I will see you guys later. Oh my god, don't turn around right now, there's a necromorph right behind you!